Are you thinking about starting a podcast for your business? Obviously, I might know a thing or two about podcasting. And from my firsthand experience, it really has been a valuable tool for my audience and my business. And I'm here to tell you that a podcast can be a great way for your business to not only connect with your customers, but to also build your brand. In fact, studies show that Americans listen to approximately 21 million hours of podcast audio every single day. That's crazy, right? And with listening being extremely easy through our mobile devices, iTunes, and podcast apps, this number is going to continue to rise. Hello and welcome to another episode of Digital Marketing Made Simple. I'm your host, Jennie Lyon, and today I wanted to really dig into podcasting, and I want you to walk away with some actionable steps that you can take to decide if podcasting is a good addition for your business model. Let's jump in. Podcasts offer valuable information, great networking opportunities, and a strong connection with your audience. And as podcasters step into those listeners' earbuds, they really take place in their private spaces and lives. And obtaining that close relationship has many businesses wondering, is it worth adding a podcast to my marketing mix? But before you launch a podcast, it's really important to understand the pros and the cons with this type of content marketing. Podcasting can benefit almost any business. It's really easy, it's inexpensive to produce, and it's a lot of fun. But they can be time-consuming, and it can be difficult to stand out in a crowded space. But if you can make a run at it, the payoff is definitely worth it. So you might be asking, well, what are the pros of starting a podcast for your business? So again, podcasts are a great way to connect with your audience and build your brand. And as I mentioned, they are relatively easy and inexpensive to produce. And you can record and edit your show yourself, or you can outsource the production to professionals, wink, wink. And also, once you've created your episodes, they can be distributed free on iTunes and other popular podcast directories. So let's look at some of the other benefits of starting a podcast for your business. So first up is you can really reach a broad audience. So since podcasts are so easy to consume, they're really perfect for busy people who want to be able to listen to content on the go. So this means that you have the potential to reach a broad audience with your show. In fact, it shouldn't come as a surprise that the largest audience for podcasts is made up of highly educated and wealthy adults. After all, podcasting has been shown to stimulate brain activity more than watching television does. So you can reach your audience for free or at a minimal cost. And the more people who listen to your show, the better chance of attracting new listeners who may be interested in what you have to say. Next step is you can build relationships with your listeners. So because podcasts are really intimate and personal, they really help to build relationships. And this is something that can be really difficult to do with other types of marketing strategies. So connecting with people is easier when they feel like they know you personally. And this goes without saying, the more that you share about yourself and what you do, the more that people will feel like they have that direct connection with you. So this can really lead to repeat listeners who come back for more week after week after week, building a sense of community. This is especially important if you run an online business. If people feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves, then they will likely stick around and support you for years to come, really helping to spread the word. And next step is that you can establish yourself as an expert in your field. So if you produce a high quality show that provides valuable information, then you can quickly establish yourself as an expert in your field. So this can help you attract more clients and customers and become more of an influencer. Furthermore, collab opportunities really come to fruition with other influencers, growing your audience and your revenue when you become that podcast influencer, all the while building a brand that people feel like they can trust and respect. And by producing high quality content, then you really do become more apparent to your audience, right? They see you more as that authority on the subject. So this really does help them trust and respect your opinion when they decide to purchase from you or recommend your products or services to their friends. Now, there are some cons to starting a podcast. So while podcasts really do offer a lot of benefits, there are some downsides to launching your own show. Podcasts can be very time consuming and competitive. So the podcast episode usually will take 2 to 3 hours to record and to edit. And creating a new show, it could be time consuming too, because you have to set aside time for research, planning, recording interviews. There's a lot of prep work that has to be done. Now, most of this can be outsourced to your team or a digital marketing team, and they could really help you take that plunge into podcasting. So if you have questions or you feel like, I can take care of the recording, but I really need help with everything else, please reach out. This is something we do for clients all of the time, and we can really help you to not only create an amazing podcast, but to set up all of the different pieces and really get your show rolling in the right direction. But there are some other potential drawbacks of starting a podcast, and those are things like you have to deliver on a schedule. So your publication schedule really does need to be followed. It's really important. It reflects the expectation of your audience, and they really come to expect your content to be delivered on a very predictable and frequent schedule. And again, podcast production, it's time-intensive work. And mainstream media has really conditioned audiences to expect newsletters, podcasts, YouTube videos, all of those things to be released in the same cadence. And if you miss an episode or otherwise disrupt that publishing schedule, then listeners become confused and really become frustrated by that change. So there's things you can do to mitigate that, right? You can work with a team like ours who can help you, produce things ahead of time so that everything is scheduled and goes out when it should. Number 2 is loss of interest. So a lot of users will quickly lose interest in podcasts that don't grab their attention. So if you want listeners to stay engaged with your podcast, you really want to make sure that your title is compelling and relevant. And if possible, really discuss an aspect of your business or expertise right away, but keep it interesting. If your podcast is just a monologue and or you're trying to interview guests or inviting them to share their expertise on specific topics related to your business, that's fine. But you really want to make sure that it's a good combination, or at least that the information is interesting and exciting. You can also create call-in segments where people can ask questions and give feedback to their experiences with you or in the industry in general, because people love connection, right? And I know developing topics and questions for guests, it can feel a little bit tricky, especially if you're just starting out. So I do have some tips that I can share with you through my podcast workbook. So you can grab that at jennylyon.com/podcasting, and it'll at least get you moving in the right direction. Next step is the investment to market your podcast. So since not everyone is familiar with your podcast, you really do need to invest time and money into promoting your show if you want it to be successful. This will include things like creating eye-catching cover art, optimizing your episodes for SEO, and submitting your show to popular publications. And to really be truly successful, you'll really need to promote your podcast across multiple channels and ensure that it fits into your overall marketing strategy. And depending on your budget, you can hire a designer to create the cover art for you, or you can do it yourself. If you're more familiar with design and you want to take on the cover art, that's fine. Here's some advice. make it simple, right? Keep it simple, keep it clean. You don't need anything fancy unless your brand is one of those that is really, really fancy. It can be really simple. Your logo, some text, maybe an image representing your podcast. Think simple and clean. And the truth is that podcasting, it's really always been around. It's just taken a new form on the internet with the rise of the digital distribution networks. So even independent podcasters who aren't working through an extensive network can sell and distribute their content through iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and they may not be able to reach millions of users like NPR or CBS Radio. And they might not be a household name in every home, but it is good exposure, and it really can help your brand show off your personality. And whether you're looking to become a solo podcaster or team up with others, remember to make your podcast relevant to your niche. The more people that can see themselves in your show, the more likely that they're going to be to share it with their friends. And also remember that podcasting isn't just about the audio or the video file itself. It's about building an audience and getting them invested in what they're hearing so that they'll want to join future projects that you might undertake. All right, so what's my weekly challenge for you? First up, go ahead and download my podcast workbook. It will get you started. You can grab it at jennylyon.com/podcasting. Then sit down and make a list of your top 3 favorite podcasts and write down all of your likes and dislikes. Google Podcasts within your niche. Look through all of the pages that come up. Is the market saturated? What are the naming conventions? And then when you're ready to add a podcast to your marketing strategy, please reach out. I'll be happy to help you map it out so you have a successful launch. All right, so what did we learn today? Well, number 1, you want the ability to reach a broader audience. And since podcasts are so easy to consume, they're perfect for busy people who want to be able to listen to content on the go. You can build authentic relationships with your audience because podcasts are intimate and personal, and they really help build relationships with your listeners. And you want to become an influencer in your field. If you produce a high-quality show that provides valuable information, then you're really going to be on your way to quickly establishing yourself as an expert in your field. And this one's important. Stay on schedule. You'll have a publication schedule that really should reflect the expectations of your audience. And remember, keep things relevant and interesting. To be truly successful, you'll need to really grab your audience's attention and hold on to it. And last but not least, you want to plan on investing in some marketing. You really need to promote your podcast across multiple channels to ensure that it fits into that overall marketing strategy. All right, so are you ready to join the podcasting party? Are you? You know, we're wrapping up the year here, and it would be a really great idea to consider launching a podcast for your business in the new year. So please, again, reach out if you have any questions, grab the free workbook, and get podcasting. I'm pretty sure that it will be a lot of fun. That's all I have for you this week on another episode of Digital Marketing Made Simple. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.